So with the release of the new build, the 7.6 build, which itself includes many major enhancements and new features over 7.5, we thought we would take that as an opportunity to just make sure everybody was aware of all the different features that the product has, so that you'll be better positioned to make the best use of it as you can. So let's jump in. For those who haven't logged in for a while, here's a quick overview. KeyServer is made up of 4 components. There's the client, which is a small program installed on each computer on the network. The server itself, where all the data is stored and processed. KeyReporter, the web interface, which is often used by non-administrators in addition to administrators, such as office or lab managers, staff or faculty, and even these days with the lab maps, students and other end users can make use of the web interface. And the final one, of course, is KeyConfigure, which is the administrator's console. Anybody who's used KeyServer for a long time has some familiarity with that. Our primary focus today is going to be in KeyReporter, the web interface, but there really is a huge enhancement that administrators are going to be excited to hear about, called product families, that we wanted to discuss. That's accessible and set up in KeyConfigure, so we'll finish up with that at the end, open up KeyConfigure and show you the new automatic policy wizard with the family products and how that works. All right, so starting with the KeyReporter dashboards, KeyServer administrators have the ability to create highly customizable limited access accounts for end users or other lab managers, college administrators, or other office managers. Those can be set up either manually in KeyConfigure, or you can use Active Directory integration to kind of automate that process and give one set of credentials through AD that can be signed on here in KeyReporter. Each of these user accounts then have their own customizable dashboard. There are other built-in dashboards that we can see here. I'm logged in with administrative privileges, so I can see all of the other dashboards on this KeyServer. But you could see, I could select another dashboard, see what it looks like, and I could even then make that my dashboard. I could save this to, overwrite my own dashboard as a starting point. Just coming back quickly to my dashboard. You see each dashboard has the ability to add additional tabs. So you set up this dashboard, maybe this first tab is general information, and then you've got one that goes over hardware or software details. A new feature available in these dashboards for 7.6 is the ability to scope these. So from this dashboard, I can pick a scope, and all of these widgets will update to give me information for a specific location. In this case, we're looking at Adams Lab 1. The search bar up here is brand new and very dynamic. It functions differently depending on what page you're on. So on this dashboard page, it's kind of general use because there's a lot going on here. You can search the widgets, you can search computers, divisions, and one thing I wanted to point out as an example, here on this new help page, this searches general search for our online documentation. And then on the other pages, that search bar is there to help you search within the content for each page. Just looking quickly at the widgets, there are a few brand new ones that you'll notice. This availability widget gives you what would be on the maps page so that you don't have to go anywhere to get a quick overview of how many computers are in use. This compare recent utilization widget is brand new as well. And what this is doing is showing us the past 3 months of usage. And the dark black line here is August, and then July and June in the background there. These can be modified to show different time periods. So this one's showing 3 months, and this one's going back 3 weeks. So that's the idea there, is you can compare utilization in a single location across different periods of time. And then this one is here to show a comparison of one lab to another, one location to another. And in the settings, I've got Adams Lab 1 as the compare to section. So let's select Adams Lab 2 and you'll see what this one does. So what we're seeing here is Adams Lab 2 in orange is the scope of this dashboard comparing to Adams Lab 1, and that can be changed going into the settings of this widget. You can change to select a different scope to compare to. So that's another brand new one that I like a lot and is hopefully going to be really useful. Another big enhancement for these widgets is the ability to click on a lot more of them to get to the raw data in that report. So if we click on this one, we're going to see this week's data in greater detail. And if we just kind of look at some of these other widgets, you'll see, I'm going to remove the scope. A couple of other recently updated ones are this warranty date and purchase date range. So you can get a quick view of how many computers in your selected scope fall within certain date ranges. And then if you want to get that list, there's 94 computers, for example, here that are 4 years old. We can just click on that widget and it's going to give us the raw data with that list that can then easily be exported. So the whole goal behind this update was simplification, make as much available in the web interface as possible so that you can get to this data that's been there, but maybe you haven't made best use of for a while. And then one last thing here on the widget page, I want to demonstrate or at least show you right now, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more when we get to the reports page. But these 3 report tiles link to the kinds of reports that you would typically be able to run in the Key Configure interface. Again, in the name of simplification, the idea here is maybe there's 4 or 5 reports that you run all the time or that you really want to look at on a regular basis, but you don't want to go into Key Configure, filter or stumble through the report menus to remember which one you tend to like. The idea here is you configure your report as a template, you can put it on your dashboard, and one click and you get your report anytime you want. These report tiles, just like all the rest of the widgets, are going to obey scope. So if I select Adams Lab 2 and I run one of these, it's going to apply to that scope or to that location. I think that is everything related to widgets in general. One thing you'll notice I've done here is I've added a tab for each of the widget categories. So when you go to add new widgets to your dashboard, these types, these are the high-level categories. When we were doing testing for 7.6, I created a tab for each of those and added one of each widget to the dashboards. So that's what you're seeing here is each tab represents one of each widget in each of those categories. So moving on quickly to the maps page. The maps, this is a feature that has not been updated a lot more in 7.6 compared to what it was in 7.5, but a lot of people have not seen it. So we want to take a moment to kind of demonstrate this for you. This is a geographic map or a campus or location map that shows you how many computers are available in each of these locations. So looking, we've got Adams Lab 2 scoped here, so it's highlighted. If I click here, I get a description of that room. I can see when it's going to close today, how many computers are available. That's 6 out of 39 computers in that room. If this was pulled up on my phone, click Get Directions. It's going to give me walking directions to that location. It'll open up the Google Maps app and give you walking directions. Each of these maps pages also has the ability to create multiple tabs or multiple maps. So if you've got a satellite campus, or maybe we want to create location maps by department, you can have multiple tabs. Very quickly, I'll show you what that looks like. We'll add a new tab. I'm just going to call this new location. And there's a reason that I want to show you this. I'm just going to accept defaults. So now we've got this list view, which is accessible on any of these other tabs. If I click here, I can see the list of those locations. This one hasn't got a map set up yet. So very quickly, what I want to demonstrate is the process of setting that first pin. If we take Adams Lab 1 here and I click this plus icon, it's going to allow me to go ahead and start creating that floor plan if I want. I'm going to skip that. By clicking add, I've added it to this map page essentially. And now if I click this pin place on map icon, that's where it's going to bring up the geographic map. But as you can see, I'm not very close to the location here. You can use the pin up here, and the the tool will attempt to use your computer's location. As you can see, my computer's location has not been determined. So I'm going to zoom in from here. The trick to this is as long as you drag when you click down, it's not going to place that pin. So as I zoom in to our location, if I need to click and drag, I can. But when I'm ready, as soon as I just click on the map, that's where it's going to place that pin. So the first one can be a little bit difficult because you're having to find your location from a world map. Once that first pin is set, though, that then becomes your default starting point for your next location. And then I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this, and we'll come back to the main map here. And then another thing I wanted to point out is, and a lot of users are actually doing this, you don't necessarily have to create the floor plans. So if we look at Adams Lab 2 here, you can see a floor plan was created here within the tool. That's not necessary. You can use this geographic map embedded on your website and use this without that. And what that looks like, if we go into this room, we'll see is just a list view of those computers. We can still click on those to get our software list. All the rest of the functionality is here. They're just not laid out on a floor plan. So if you want to make quick use of this, create that geographic map, get those locations set, and you can start making use of it, within a few minutes. Get that embedded on a website that end users have access to, and then work on the floor plans as you have time. That process, just as a very quick demonstration, if I were going to create a map for this room, I can click this edit icon. Gives me the ability to put in the dimensions of that room if I've got them. In most cases, it's sufficient to eyeball the shape of that room. We've got tools up here to assist with drawing that now. These were new in 7.5. This is a tool for drawing the walls. So I can draw the outline. I want to leave space for doors. You hit escape and then you can start again with a new one. The big enhancement here is the built-in objects in this bookmark or object library. We've got icons, desk objects with the snap points. So if I place this desk, I can copy and paste it. And what's really cool about the copy paste function is I can move this, and when I paste again, it's going to remember the orientation between these two and paste the new one into a row. And then you can do the same thing with a row. Copy the whole row, paste it, move that pasted one, and then paste a new one. It will respect that relationship with the pasted rows as well. When we go to place these computers, I can either drag them into place. It's just going to snap to the closest one, or you can work through one at a time using your tab and arrow keys. And when you're ready, just hit enter to place a computer into its location. When you've got the map set up, there are some additional settings you can go through here. I'm not going to go through each one in detail now, but you can check out those settings. If you need to draw your own object, there are drawing tools here as well. You can draw an object, select all the components, group them together, and then add them to this object library. So if there's something here missing that you need, a special desk shape or something that you can draw on your own, you can add it here and use it as many times as you need. So that's the editing. I'm going to go ahead and back out of this without saving that. So we'll keep the list view for this room. Also on the maps page, the search bar on this page then becomes a software search. So for end users, if you're looking for Adobe Creative Cloud, for example, you could type Adobe Creative Cloud. It's going to search all products that have that string of characters in the name. So all these different versions of Creative Cloud are installed somewhere, and then the numbers on the map have updated to show me how many computers in each of these locations are available that have one of these products. And we'll highlight the computers as well. So we can see the 2 out of 21 computers are these 2 computers in green that have a Creative Cloud version on them. So very useful. You'll also notice these printer icons. I'm going to come back to that as we get to the printers page. So we'll come back to that in a moment. Let's have a quick look at this reports page. Again, in the name of simplification, feedback we've gotten has been that it's hard to figure out which report you want to run. Maybe it's been a few months and you want to run the report that you ran last time you logged in, but you have no idea what the name was. The goal behind this 7.6 build is to simplify the process of getting the data out. So the idea behind this is one-click reporting. These report tiles have been pre-configured. All of these, for example, have been set up to run on last month if they have a date range. These are all set up to run on the prior month, and all I've got to do is select run or click run now, and it's going to run that report. It will respect the scope that I've selected. So if there's no scope, it's going to run it across the entire KeyServer. If I want to run it on a specific room, I can select that room, and when I click run, it's going to run that report and give me the details in that report. So for example, if I select this installed software report and run that, we're going to get a quick audit report of what software is installed on the computers in this room. I've got Adams Lab 2. Any of these reports, just as in Key Configure, you can reverse the view. When you upgrade to 7.6, you're going to see that there are a few of these ready and waiting for you. Those are there as something there to get you started as examples. The report builder is where you go to add new ones. So just looking at this report builder page, this has changed somewhat between 7.5 and 7.6. The way this works now is if we come up here to the search, I can do a search for a particular report. So you only have to do this once if you're setting it up as a one-click. I'm going to select this suite, policy by program. So now I've selected my report. I come to save as. I can give it a new name if there is a name that you prefer to use as opposed to the default name. And if we choose the one-click folder, this is where you make the decision of what gets added to that report page with the tiles. So by adding this report to the one-click folder and selecting Run on Demand, that's going to place it on that reports page as one of those one-click tiles. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the date range, and then we'll save this and I'll show you where it shows up on that page. So we can look at the entire data set this year down to last month, last quarter, or yesterday, and then you can also do trailing 12 months or the trailing 30 days, as opposed to last month, which was first to the end of July. If I wanted to do from today backwards 30 days, I could select that, or trailing a week, or you can set, of course, a custom date range as well. In this case, I'm just going to leave it as last month, like the rest of those in that reports page, and click Save. That will then create that report template and add it here to the reports page. I think they show up alphabetical, so here it is here, suite policy by program. And if I run that, what this one does is it looks at all of your policies, and it actually will show you usage of the individual components within each policy. So we've got a Creative Cloud 2015 policy, and here's all the different programs and how much usage each of those programs got. Again, these are easily exported, and the columns are sortable, so I can select any of these columns to sort these reports by those. So let's look at the computers page. This is a brand new page. This was not in 7.5 at all. This page allows you to do some of what the Key Configure computers window allows you to do, and that I can select or multi-select computers, drag and drop them into divisions. The idea there is that if you're going to give an account to a lab manager and allow them to go in and set up their divisions, they can view the uncategorized computers, grab those that they're responsible for, and then drag it into the division that they're responsible for. Of course, in many locations, the computers are set up with rules or Active Directory integration that automate that process. So this may not be something that you end up using in your specific location, but to the extent that it is useful, it is there now in the web interface. The search bar on the computers page allows me to search the computers themselves. So if I search for, say, Adams it's going to filter down. I'm in Adams Lab 1 as my scope currently. But if I come back up here, you'll see it's going to search for any computer that has the string of characters in either the name or the division of the computer. We could click a specific machine and go in and see the details, similar to what you get in KeyConfigure. We've got all the hardware details here, categorization within the KeyServer, asset fields, purchase fields, and then if you're using the custom fields, you can see the custom data there. If it's something that can be manually modified, there's an edit button here, so you can manually modify it here in the web the same way you would be able to in the desktop interface. Looking at the software page, this is another brand new page, was not in 7.5. The goal behind this page was that we've gotten a lot of feedback from users saying that it's great that we have these lab maps that can display all the software in a given room or on a specific computer, but I've still got this other page over here where I'm managing a software list manually. And all the data is in KeyServer. Is there any way that we can make this an automated process? So this is the result of that request. We can sort by publisher or by software category to get a list of all the software on the KeyServer. And once again, this will obey scope. So if I select Adams Lab 2, it's going to filter down and only show me the software in that room. And if I click on the software name itself, it's going to take me to the room and highlight the computer or computers in that room that have that software. If I select the arrow here, then we go into the software details, similar to those computer details. We could see additional information in the KeyServer about that software. And then the more info link will actually take you to the publisher's page. This will take you out to the Autodesk website page for this particular product. So that's the idea behind this software search page. What we're also seeing here, and I wasn't going to mention this until we got into KeyConfigure, but let me go ahead and point it out now. You see there's multiple levels here for some of these products. So Adobe Acrobat Pro is listed as a product family here, and we can see the total number of installations. There are 47 copies of Adobe Acrobat Pro on this KeyServer. If I select the scope, it's going to update that number. But then we see the individual versions. So Acrobat 9, there's one of those, 12 Acrobat DC Pros, 1911 Pro for Mac, and 1511 Pro for Windows. So this is where we're starting to see that product family, that high-level product definition that includes multiple different versions. And we'll talk about that again towards the end. I'm going to jump to the printers page now. So if we go to the printers page, this is another brand new page based on a request from a client. With this printers page comes PaperCut integration and also the ability to connect through IPP to pull the printer information into the database. So you can take a spreadsheet, import it with whatever information that you've got, and you're going to get this printers database in a static form. Once the list of printers is here, you can see your division list is off to the left side. You can drag and drop the computers into their appropriate divisions. Once they're there, that's where you'll get on your lab maps the printer icons available to place wherever they are in that room. You can see this one's green, that one's yellow. That's because these in particular are set up through PaperCut integration. So we're able to get live status information from PaperCut about each of these printers. This one says it's okay. Cost per page is 10%. You can add some additional text to give additional information about that printer. This one is an unknown status. Last time that was active, it was a paper jam, but currently it looks like maybe that printer has gone offline or something, so the status is unknown. So again, the printers database is something that can be imported, brought in from PaperCut, or you can connect through IPP. To manage PaperCut settings, that's down here on this settings page. You see there is the printers category, and this is where the information is. This is a very good example. If you're interested in getting more information on this front, go to the help page and do a search for PaperCut and our documentation. This is very well documented, the steps to get connected if you've already got PaperCut and you're curious about seeing what this looks like. One other thing probably worth mentioning is there is a tour. So if you log in for the first time, or if it's been a while since you've logged in, down here, you can either use the F1 key or click here to give you an introduction tour. It's going to take you through all the new items on each page, give you some information. And then for the highlighted item, you can click further documentation, and it will take you to the documentation page for that specific object. And then just really quickly, we'll come down to the help page. This is, again, brand new. On this page, it's self-explanatory what's here: training videos, documentation. I've mentioned the online documentation search up top, access to our news and other blog posts, and then down here in support, contact information for the support, and the screen share button is a download for the TeamViewer application. So you don't have to open KeyConfigure anymore. If you're looking for technical support in the web interface, you can just download it straight from here to access that TeamViewer. And then when you call us up, we'll just ask you for the ID and password and be able to log in and see your screen from there. So I think that covers everything we wanted to demonstrate here in the web interface. All the new features we're really excited about. The next step I want to show you is going to be within KeyConfigure, which is that administrator's console. Now, again, as I said before, many users maybe have never seen KeyServer before, so I just want to give a quick explanation as to what we're seeing. When you first log in to KeyServer after the upgrade to 7.6, you may not see this new product wizard just yet. The reason for that is that these family product definitions may not have been downloaded yet, and until some of those start to show up on your KeyServer, you're not going to see this wizard. I would recommend, even if you do see it, it's probably only going to include 3 or 4 web browsers the first time you log in, because the connection to our product recognition service will happen overnight, and that's when all the new family products come in. So after your upgrade to 7.6, wait overnight, and then the next morning when you log in, you should see this wizard. The first time you see this wizard, I would probably recommend going ahead and exiting it and canceling out of it to do a little bit of maintenance, and I'll show you what I mean. This is going to show you new family product definitions that for any family product that's not already in a policy. So if you've got usage policies in place already for, let's say, Adobe Creative Cloud, you might want to do a little bit of cleanup and maybe even move the family version of that product into the policy that you already have. Now, I know there's some new users, so I'm going to take just a quick step back and give a little bit of an overview of what I'm talking about. In KeyServer, I mentioned there's the client tool that will audit those machines and tell the KeyServer what programs are installed on each computer. Now, a program is an executable file, and those executable files, in this case, this very long list adds up to a product called Adobe Creative Cloud 2015. So from the direct discovery of those programs, KeyServer can then tell you what products are installed based on the unique collection of programs discovered on that machine. It used to be if you wanted to track usage of a product, that product had to be in one of these policies, and that when a new version came out, you had to remember to come in and add the new version to that policy, or you wouldn't be tracking usage. After a lot of feedback and some research into the best way to implement this, giving all of the key servers that are already out there and already set up, and the need to not mess with anything or break anything that others have already configured, what we came up with is a family version of that product. So this icon here with the 4 squares, you can see looks different than the regular product icon. And as we scroll through here, we're going to see there are family versions of these products, which are made up of I'm just trying to get down to the Creative Cloud product family. So if we look at this product family, it's made up of all the different versions, individual versions of those products. So if I've already got a policy that's maybe tracking all of these, the way to implement the family product is to go ahead and remove these from that policy and add the family version of that product to the policy. From that point forward, when Creative Cloud 2020 comes out, you're not going to have to add that standalone unique version, because it's going to be added automatically by us to the family version of that product, and you're going to start tracking usage of the new version without ever having to touch KeyServer again. So this is a huge time-saving enhancement for administrators that's been a long time coming, and we're excited to demonstrate that and show it. So my recommendation is go through, after you get these family product definitions, go through the policies you've already got one at a time and make a decision of what you want to do with it. Do you want to continue to leave those individual versions? Do you want to put the family product version in? And then when you log in, this will be cleared out of all of the ones you've made a decision on already. And as you go through, you're just deciding, do I want to create a new policy for this product? Do I want to not create a new policy? Or do I not have time, don't care right now, and I just want to skip this and deal with it next time I log in? So you can take as long as you need to go through the product family definitions here. If you select one to observe usage, all that's going to happen is as you step through here and click done, a new policy gets created, which I just did for that product right here. This Audacity policy was just now created. As a result of that, you can see it's got the family version in there. I never have to think about or worry about usage tracking for any version of that product. It's going to be there. So that is the product families and the new policy wizard. The very last thing I think worth mentioning, because I run into people all the time that are not aware KeyServer does it. This came in a couple of versions ago, and that is URL tracking. KeyServer now has the ability to track very specific URL patterns that you define and set up. And the way that works, it's a little different from a regular product that's installed on a computer and that we have in our product recognition service. In this case, what you do is you can right-click within the products window, select new product, and one of the options is a web-based product. So you decide what you want to call it. Maybe it is Blackboard. That's going to be the new product name. It's a web-based product. This is additional information. If you have it that you want to input, you can. And then here's where you can add the URL pattern to create that product. You set it up with the domain. You can use regular expressions here. And once that's all set up, what you end up with is a product in this products window that has a cloud icon here. And then you just simply drag it down into the policies window to create an observe policy for that product. And then KeyServer is going to track usage, time spent on that website, just like it tracked usage of any other product. So I just wanted to at least bring that up before we wrapped up today. And I think that really covers everything that we wanted to demonstrate and show you today.